Hello, Mr. Clunky here, and this is another episode of Story Roulette, the show where I tell random stories from random words and then hope for the best. This week's episode is brought to us by two people once again, so thank you Brazen Braden and El Swalwell for your contributions. For this week's episode, I thought about trying something new. Instead of having the three separate containers, I'm going to have them all of the words in one container. Change things up a little. Keep it interesting, hopefully. Alright, so that said, let's get going. Alright, in comes the hat of stories. Give it a good shake. And first word, put it down. Second word, put it down. And for the third word, put it down. Alright, let's see what we got. So, we have slide. We have difficulties, technical difficulties. Indeed. Sergeant Jackum. Yeah, Sergeant Jackum. Was it Jackrum? Yeah, Sergeant Jackrum. And finally, we have Matryoshka doll. Now, if I'm not mistaken, those are Matryoshka dolls, for those who don't know. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, by the way. Those are those Russian dolls that sort of the one goes inside the other. They're like, bloop. So we have Slide, Sergeant Drakram, and Matryoshka doll. Okay. So, our story begins with Sergeant Jackram. As you may have guessed, he was a sergeant in the army. This was let's set this story in the pre-fall of the Iron Curtain. How about that? Yes. So this was during the Cold War. Sergeant Jackram was an officer or sergeant in the Jackram. He was a sergeant in the United States military. Okay, it's the only military I can think of right now that will have a person named Jackram in it. Alrighty. So, Sergeant Jackram was a sergeant, and he was not only the division he was in was a specialized division, a special ops forces. That's correct. Yes, and they specifically specialized in how should I say, preventing Matryoshka dolls from entering the United States, because we all know how evil those are. Yeah. All right. So, especially in those days, you never know when the Soviets might want to hide one of their spies within one of those, within the dolls. I understand it was common practice back then to you see, because you could fit one thing inside the other. They would have really big ones, and then it would go through a few iterations of dolls, and then the very most inner one would be a spy. However, on this particular occasion, our dear Sergeant Jackram came across a certain, a spy or a person was inside the dolls, as we've been saying, and so he caught one person trying to sneak into the United States through these Matryoshka dolls. Yes, I'm constantly looking down to see if I'm pronouncing it right, just to make sure, because it's not a word I use very often, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, so he caught the person, and well, this person, it was a she, and well, she was rather pretty. Surprise, surprise. And well, and he turned, and so let's get back to how it all went down. All right. So he was at the customs office, at the almost said airport. Well, I guess it could be the airport, but in this case, it was the docks the docks, and they were a shipment of goods had come in, and obviously he was doing his job. He was going through, going through the motions, going through the crates, and he found a bunch of Matryoshka dolls. And well, as per his job title, Sergeant Jackram had to go out and well, he went through all of these dolls, and of course there were small ones, big ones, medium-sized ones. He had to go through all of them, and as you know, some of them can have up to 5, even more, reiterations of the dolls going open and out and open and out and open and out. So he had to go through all of them. Very, very tedious process. So it was at the end of the day, or at least he'd been at it for about 6 hours now, going through all these dolls, when he finally stumbles upon this lady, squatting inside the dolls, kind of like, and at first he was like, "Ha!" But then he thought, wait. And because her face was just so dejected and sad, and he just couldn't, he just couldn't get it, get it in his heart to go after this lady. He was very sad. And that is how Sergeant Jackram let one of the Matryoshka doll spies slide. Ha. Yes. Bet you guys were wondering, when am I going to bring sliding into this? Probably some of you are probably already figured it out. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave your list of stories in the comments down below, or just comment on the format of the show, or just comment. I would like to hear from you. Yes. I've been Mr. Clunky. You've been awesome, and I hope to see you all next week. I'll leave a comment in general. Feel free to do so as well. And phones like ringing. I've noticed that. Phones like ringing. Yes. Oh, dang it.